This phase one voter turnout around 8%, urban Noida, Baghpat and Aligarh leading the polling trends. Long queues seen outside many polling booths and every party attempting to woo the voters of Western UP. Remember, because of COVID norms, you couldn't have the large rallies. So social media was an important element. And that's what I want to get you in, Rahul Srivastav, on. How has that played out in comparison to previous elections? More door-to-door campaigning, much more emphasis on social media. How has that worked on the ground, Rahul, when you've been traveling across Western UP?
Rajdeep, there has been, I think COVID has not been good for campaigning, primarily because of a lot of restrictions. You see, there was a period when there was virtually a complete lull as far as the campaign is concerned. An organization like the BJP has an advantage, primarily because the BJP has an organization like the RSS, which is constantly working on the ground. It is an organization which might have started campaigning for 2022 in 2019. And in that, the BJP has an advantage that there were people already there were boots on the ground. But when the push had to come to the shove, at that time there was a gap. You see, the BJP campaign is built around two very strong personalities, Rajdeep. In that, there is one Narendra Modi and then there is Yogi Adityanath. And that lull, that physical presence to be watching a leader which impacts, and if you recall the 2017 elections, it was Narendra Modi's presence in the middle of the voters that actually galvanized the campaign for the BJP. And the same happened sometime even in 2019. I think the campaign missed something like that. Also, with somebody like Akhilesh Yadav, I think being the lone star campaigner in his own party, a restricted campaign, definitely not good news. He has a very strong social media team. He has WhatsApp groups, I think a few hundreds of them, through which he communicates to various voting segments. But again, the fact is that once you're not hopping those 19 rallies a day, hopping through helicopters, that does create a bit of a absence, which I will say, as far as the voter is concerned. Because what I'm watching is that there is definitely some sense of resentment after 5 years against the Yogi government. But the opposition seems to be, because of the lack of campaigning. You see, Rajdeep, we say that these new norms are better in terms of election campaigning. You see, the streets are bereft of any sign that there is an election on. Those Jhanda Patri banner hoardings, they're all missing. And I think these social media platforms have become perhaps the new avatar. But in a state like UP, where access to internet, especially in rural belts, is limited, I found that what leaders are saying outside, this is the first time in the last few years that what the leaders are saying outside, there is a bit of a gap in those deep rural hinterland belts where internet access is poor and where people don't have access to smartphones. It takes a bit of a delayed time. For example, today's Prime Minister's message might not have reached a lot of people in rural UP.
Western UP, of course, a little bit more.